All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Myers fan back with resident of Collinwood, aka Jules Sains. He's a huge Dark Shadows fan. Um, and we're going to talk about our expectations for the long awaited Halloween ends. This is the third and final installment of the Halloween trilogy by Blumhouse. Resident of Collinwood, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. What what do you I mean, what would you like to see with this last installment? Let me know.
All right. You have this character, Allison,
Mhm.
who has seen her boyfriend murdered, her father killed.
Yeah.
She's supposed to be, torn up inside, and yet at the same time want to kill Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Okay, well then show me that this girl is not only willing to do that, like was ready to do that in ends, but she's the one showing other people how it needs to be done.
Yeah.
You would see a group of people, and this you would see this dark haired girl pointing a gun at a mannequin's head, and she can't pull the trigger, her hand's shaking. And then you see this other hand grab the gun, and then it's Allison, and she points the gun at the mannequin's head and says, "You can't ever hesitate. We're going after the most ruthless killer ever because I assure you, he will not hesitate." And she pulls the trigger, no problem, doesn't even blink. And
I like that. I
to me,
agree with that.
that's your character. That's to me, from a mental and physical standpoint, that's where she needs to be at.
Yeah.
Because if this character is complete, hey, I'm gonna be the one that puts him down. Well, then she is. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And she doesn't need her grandma. She doesn't need her neighbor. She doesn't need this one. Yeah, she's showing other people how to do it, but she's showing them how to defend themselves. Don't ever let anybody hurt you, and be ready to, you know, take them down if they are.
Yeah. I agree with you on that. Um you also said that you had a scene that you would like to do with the graveyard. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, what I would do is I would have Laurie Strode at the graveyard visiting Annie, Linda and Bob's grave. And she would be at Annie Brackett's grave. That would be the last grave she would be visiting. And now this would have been for 2018 is where I would have put this, but
Yeah.
if they have it here, I don't know if it would fit. But for 2018, I would have had out. I wish they would have put this in. They would have had Allison go up to her grandma and say, "Look, I know I don't know what you went through 40 years ago. I wasn't there, but you can't keep doing this to yourself. I want you at this dinner tonight." And you would hear Lori say, "Your mom doesn't want me there." And it would be, well, Allison would say, "I want you there. I want you there,"
Yeah.
basically saying, "Hey, I want you in my life, but you need to let go of this in order for that to happen." And, letting her know, "Hey, I get it. That was painful, but that's over." And, sort of Allison is somebody to me who saw both sides of it, who saw her mom's point of view, but understood her grandma too. It's like,
And you said that
she,
you felt that she was kind of caught in the middle of the whole thing between her mom and her grandma.
yeah, that's what I picked up from in 2018. That because remember when she's talking to her friends, they say, "Well, aren't you worried about being related to Laurie Strode? She goes, they weren't related. They're not related. And which I like that they had a new character saying that because it didn't feel forced. It just felt she made it sound natural, which is great. But at the same time, you need to have, they had this great moment of where after the dinner scene where Laurie Strode sort of flips out, and she's been sort of defending her grandma at the same time too, where she doesn't really want to get in the middle of them, but she understands, and her mom tells her, "See, that's what I've been dealing with." And Allyson doesn't sort of say anything, and she's sort of standing there like, "Yeah, I get that sort of vibe," but she's not necessarily holding that against her grandma or her mom. It just felt like she was really in the middle of it all.
I know that we're supposed to be discussing our expectations for ends. Um, I just expect for them to make the entire movie about her. I don't
Right.
understand why it has taken three movies, and pardon the wrestling term for the non wrestling fans out there, but why has it taken three movies to get her over? I don't understand that. This is the third movie, and she was somewhat over in Kills, but in Halloween 18, this is literally all she did. She walked down the street. No, no, wait, let me get it right. She came downstairs, had breakfast with her dad, and then she literally listened to him say something about having peanut butter on his extremities, and then
Right.
she walks out the door. He says I love you. She doesn't even say it back. I think he left first. I forgot, but I think he left first, and he said I love you, and she didn't even say it back. And it's like then she walks down the street with her friends, and they discuss whether or not Michael Myers is related to Laurie, you know.
Right.
And then she says no, that's not her brother. You know what I mean? And then we get to school, and I think she meets Cameron or whatever his name is, and they discuss crust on Oscar's lip, which is gross as fuck. Like, really? That that's what she's doing? And then next thing we know, he cheats on her,
Right.
and Oscar gets killed. That's literally all that happens. What do you think about that? What does that say about Halloween ends?
I think when you look at the character of Allison, you gotta sort of start to wonder, well, why was this character poorly booked or poorly written?
Yeah,
Again, I don't. We've talked about this with some of the sequels where, okay, is Tina Williams a great character? No, but she has good qualities. She's not the best written, but the actress made the most of it. Okay, if you've really learned from mistakes of the sequels, okay, well then take the new character and write them better. And here's the thing too, they could have. They should have made her more the center of the story, more so than Laurie Strode. Laurie Strode is what? An established character. Everybody knows her story. Whether you're a Halloween fan or not, everybody's heard that name up and down. And that's the thing. You gotta take chances. And they should have took a chance and rolled the dice with this girl. What I would have loved to have seen would have been when Allison's walking to school is the shape is sort of stalking her and her friends. And in a moment she sort of feels something like watching her. She turns around. He's not there. Sort of reminiscent of 78. And they don't do that.
yeah,
They don't do that at all. Or if you really wanted to have an impact when when that night scene happens for the dance, have her walking to school, and he sees her, and he follows her to school. And while they're trying to get people off the streets, they sort of forget about the dance because, well, they don't want people on the streets. Well, you don't have to worry about the streets because he followed Alice in the school. Lights go out at the dance, and kids start getting butchered. And that, again, there's other things they could have did too. They could have, when she, instead of, having a school massacre, let's say, like, get the kids out of the dance, Michael follows her there and starts, going after her there. Or when her and that boy are in the back garden, instead of, shoving him down and flipping him off, she just, he just tells her how he felt, and she just politely, rejects him, sort of says, I appreciate your honesty, but I don't feel the same. I just like us being friends. And she sort of sees something we don't get to see it. And she says, well, what's that? Did you see that? And he turns, and he just sees the knife come up, and he pushes her back and takes it in the chest.
Bro, I was thinking that same thing. They try to make her cool by basically making her act like she's Stone Cold Steve Austin and shit. She's giving Oscar the finger. Personally, what I would have done is like you said, I would have had her say, "Hey, what's that?" Or better yet, you can even let Oscar say, "Hey, what's that?" Then she says, "What?" Because it shows that he's looking out for her. And he's like, Allyson, no, and then he jumps in front of the knife and takes the knife. And she's trying to rescue him, and he dies. She's like, don't die, don't die. I mean, there were so many ways to get her over that they could have done the graveyard scene. They could have done the scene with Oscar, but these are things that they simply didn't do. These are opportunities that they didn't take to get Allyson over. And it took 2 movies. Like, we don't even know if she's officially over with the audience, And for anybody that doesn't know what that term means, it just means getting the audience to like the person, getting the audience to identify with the person. So, anyway, continue, please.
Right. Other than her being related to Laurie and, going through what she went with, what do you care for about her? You have to feel for, the character, right? You have to feel at least somewhat of a connection. Okay, well, they missed that opportunity in 2018 to do, and they tried to sort of halfway atone for it in Kills, but it's like, okay, Allyson magically knows how to shoot a shotgun. Where did that come in? We don't know. But again, ends needs to do. People think ends just needs to mail it in. No, they need to do a lot of shit. Like, you need to have that character put over times 10, because you sure as hell didn't do it in 2018.
Yeah,
and you sort of halfway did it in Kills, which is let's just say 2 of these movies aren't long. Okay, I don't know how long the runtime is for the 3rd movie, but you better tell one hell of a story for this girl, because you haven't done it for her. They haven't. Look, if they were going to tell a story when they, in 2018, when she's, getting picked up by Sartain and them and Hawkins, I would have had, when Oscar gets killed, I would have had Michael grab her hair and pull some of it out. Like, she just barely gets away, because that's how he goes for her hair, and he pulls some of it out. And she's sort of like, oh shit, he almost got me. sitting there panicking, like, and that's why they're giving her the water. That's what they should have did. And then when they pick him up, Hawkins is so dead set on finding the son of a bitch, where do you think he would have went? And that's when Sartain would have said, at the Myers house. He might have went home. And Hawkins goes, okay. So Hawkins, Sartain, and Allyson end up going to the Myers house. And this girl's, meanwhile, still scared shitless. And they figure, well, we'll just leave her in the car. She'll be safe there. Here's where Sartain's heel turn would have happened. Instead of fucking with Myers, they're up in where Judith's room, and Sartain's sort of standing there like, Loomis, this is where it happened. This is where he killed his sister. And then you hear click, bam, in the neck, stabs him with that pen. Same way, just no Michael Myers. You don't need a heel in a scene to turn someone else heel, and you just don't.
There were just so many opportunities,
right?
Again, to get her over, and they just didn't do it. I'm trying to think of what I expect for ends. I guess to just give her the ball and let her run with it. And as we know, it's being filmed now. So I don't know what they're doing. I'm guessing by now she probably is gonna be, they probably are gonna let her run with it. And Ryan Bowers, Everyday Horror, shout out to him. He says, well, she's not doing anything, or she hasn't done anything. Yeah, because they won't let her. They won't let her do anything. They're not giving her the ball and letting her run with it. I mean, she needs to, if you were to ask me, what are your expectations for ends? Listen, Lindsay Wallace is dead. Laurie Strode is dead. Allyson needs to get in there and kick Michael's ass. I mean, I want to see a knockdown, drag out fight. I want to see some Mortal Kombat type shit. I want to see them get it on. That's my expectation. I want to see her just let it all out, let all the emotion out. Get down and dirty, get her hands dirty, kick this guy's ass. If you say he's ruined your family, he's haunted your family for 40 years, then, sir, I say to you, my expectation is for them to finally get her over. And, she needs to kick Michael's ass.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though, too. They need to spend the movie emphasizing that's exactly what this girl's going to do, and then do it. No, don't pull your punches with this girl, because that, unfortunately, that's what they did with the first film. They, didn't want to make her look like a victim. Well, okay, you know what the best part about being, almost being a victim is the almost part. You survived it. And what doesn't kill you makes you what? Stronger.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole emphasis, and that's something they didn't do the first film. And people say, well, they sort of do it in the second film. Well, here's the thing. She goes after him in the second film. So the only downfall about ends is, and this is what concerns me, well, you've already showed me you're not scared to go after him, so I'm going to assume you're already not scared to go after him the third time, unless they do sort of show that. But I hope they don't, because, look, you've already almost faced death once. So I got to assume that the three, protagonists in the story, aren't afraid to die. Because what's death? Hey, as long as we get Tim, fine. If he takes us with him, fuck it.
Yeah.
Because if this is truly the end, then you shouldn't be worried about your consequences. There should be no consequences.
Yeah.
It's over. If it's over, it's over.
I mean, I want to see a knockdown, drag out fight.
You're
I
right.
want to see them going at it like Halloween 2007. I
Yeah.
want to see them both bloody as hell. And if they both have to die, then so be it. Let them both die. Let them go. It's over anyway. And it's sad that she had to die for them to get her over. My expectation is for them to give her the ball, let her run. And not only that, but she needs to get out there with the press and sell this thing like it's no tomorrow. This is the final fight. She needs to get out there to the press and sell this thing. Say, hey, come see the movie. Come see me kick Michael's ass. You
Yeah.
know, she needs
Hand of
she
God.
needs to sell it.
Hand of God. That they're supposed to. I don't know if they're going to have a radio tower in this. I guess they're supposed to or something. I would have them on top of that goddamn radio tower at the very goddamn top platform. That they're fighting it out. She's kicking him in the stomach. She's she's got him teetering on the edge. She runs at him. Karate kick. They both go off. They both go off and they both fall and they both die and it's over. She
Wow.
she
Yeah,
saved
I
she
like that.
saved she saved the town, but she sacrificed herself. How
Yeah,
many times have we seen, Superman, Batman risk their own life to save others? Countless.
that's true.
Sometimes the hero doesn't always live to necessarily for everyone else to win.
That's true because look at Arnold Schwarzenegger when he played Jericho Kane and he
Right,
fought the devil.
right.
So I definitely agree with that. But that's the expectation that I have for this. Like you, I want to see a fight. She needs to be on top. She needs to be on the cover. This
Right.
needs to be all about her. She needs to do these interviews, sell the shit out of this movie. One on one. It should have been half her face and half his face. That's what this should have been.
It's
Laurie's
community.
dead. Lindsay's
Right.
dead. Go on. What are you gonna say?
Yeah. So they need to give her top billing. That's what they need to do, and make her the star of this movie. If she's, you know what I mean, if she's the main focus, then have her be the star of this movie.
I definitely agree with that. I hope it
You can't,
happens.
and
And
I
I want
mean
to
this.
go
I'm
ahead. What were you
sorry.
saying?
I mean this in no disrespectful way at all to Jamie Lee Curtis,
Hmm.
but Jamie Lee Curtis is already a household name.
Yeah,
My question to those who, are going to scoff at this, well, how many more times are you going to keep putting over the same person?
that's true.
It gets to the point of numb.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Um, she definitely needs to be in the spotlight. I said this in 2019 when they were filming Kills. She needs to kick his ass,
Yeah,
and they
she
need to
does.
get her over. You know, you don't need to put over. That's like putting over. That's like if we're going to use a wrestling analogy. It's like putting over The Rock. Why do you need to put
Right.
him over? He's the fucking Rock.
Well, it's sort of the thing of like, okay, Brock Lesnar winning the Royal Rumble. It's like, who cares? Brock Lesnar's been over how many times? Who gives a
Yeah,
shit? Like, I told you, I don't watch wrestling anymore. I just read about it. Like, well, this is why I read about it, because look, why should I watch shit? I can just read about their shit, and it's awful. And it is because you keep putting over somebody who isn't even there the full year. Well, he just shows up and whenever he wants, and oh, here you go, and they hand it to him. It's like, what the fuck did he do to earn it?
Yeah.
Nothing. Other than be the name Brock Lesnar. It's like, who gives a shit? I don't, because why? You didn't earn it. Well, okay. Make sure you put over this character and make her the focus. Because I already know who Jamie Lee Curtis is. I already know who Laurie Strode is. That's an
And you
established
already know who Lindsay Wallace is.
right. They're established. Look, I love, you know this, I love Dark Shadows to death, and I love Barnabas Collins.
Yeah.
Now, the new series, they can't just have the first episode, oh, Barnabas comes out. Why? Because that'll take away from every character you're wanting to establish. Barnabas is a household name. Everybody knows that name. Dark Shadows lore. How you don't? It's like this. You don't have to. You don't have to show. You don't have to show me Barnabas coming out of the coffin in the first episode. You want to know why? Because Barnabas's portrait hangs in the foyer.
Yeah.
All I need to do is see that portrait, because he's always looking over the family with that portrait. I need to know the other characters. I need to know them.
I agree.
Same
And
thing with Allyson.
so, what would your final word be for Halloween Ends?
Put over your young starlet.
Yeah,
Plain and simple.
I agree.
By any means necessary.
And
That, that's all
I
I can do.
definitely, I can't wait to see what they do with it. I'm definitely gonna go check it out. Um, I'm the Myers fan 25, the Michael Myers fanatic. I've had with me Jules Sains, aka resident of Collinwood. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me on. Always a pleasure talking to you.
Same here. And by the way, Ryan Bowers, like I said, Everyday Horror, he says, well, she hadn't done anything. It's because they haven't made anything for her to do. And I'm gonna have him on in a few days here, so look forward to that. Stay tuned for that. But thank you for being on here, bro. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You have a great night.
All right, same to you. Bye.